Hello. So today I am practicing how to cover loops versus recursion versus tail recursion and what are the advantages and disadvantages for their use in Scala. It's a very common interview question. So I'll just do the hands-on and I'm recording at the same time. So this is a new Scala worksheet and the object is factorial. I'm trying to find the factorial of a number. So first I'll be covering loop using loop to find factorial. So first I'll call a function, I'll name that loop, and then I'll take the input parameters, type as integer. So it doesn't matter because it already Scala infers the type. But over here, since we are calling it in a function, we have to give it. This is the basic syntax. Then over here, we'll be assigning a variable. Which will return the result. So you see that it says var result int. If I don't specify int, it still takes it as integer. Okay. Now I'll use a for loop. So in the for loop, what I'll be specifying, I'll be iterating with the I. This is the syntax of for loop, and I'll iterate it till the input which is placed. Okay. So suppose the input is 5, for example. I have to find factorial of 5. So let me first write the code and then I can explain my understanding. So then, so we are iterating from I to input. Now, then the result will be calculated. Let me arrange it in a better way. Okay, so the result is calculated and then I'll be returning the result. Close braces. And then finally, I'll call the function with the input I want to give. And then the final closing braces. So I'll be iterating this from 1 to input in the for loop. Now let us run this. So we see that the answer is coming as 120, which is the factorial for 5. Now how did it work? So first in this, the results value is 1. We have assigned this as a variable, so it is mutable, it keeps on changing. Now for the first loop, I is 1. It goes inside this loop. Results value is 1. So result is equal to result times 1. So 1 times 1, it returns the result as 1. Now the value of result is 1. Now it again comes in the for loop. I is 2. It comes inside this loop. The value of result was 1. So 1 times I is 2 now. So 2, it returns the result as 2. Now over here, after that, the value of result is 2. Then it comes over here and it is result equal to, so result times, and I will be 3, which is 6. So in like this, it will iterate till input, that is 5 in our case, and will give the result as 120. So this is how the for loop works for finding the factorial of a number. But the disadvantages of this that we are using a variable which is not preferred in Scala because Scala supports immutability and val is preferred. So for this, the use of recursion came into place. So I'll just use recursion to find the factorial and see that what is the difference between loop and recursion. So similarly, I'll call another function, suppose recursion, and I'll take the input, say num, integer. It's a syntax for Scala function. Then I'll give an if condition. If num is 1, then it will return 1. Of course, because the factorial of 1 is 1 only. Else, it will return num times this function recursion of num minus 1. Close the braces. Since I'm writing into a single object, I need to do this. Now if I run, okay, and now I have to call the function. So suppose I have to find factorial of 5 only. So it should come as 120. And that is what it is. Let me quickly explain my understanding on this. So let's go to the code. So it says num, if num is equal to 1, that is the input. So I've input taken as 5 and it is not equal to 1. So it is not going to return 1. So this is cancelled. We will go to the else part. So the first time it is going in the if else, we have 5. So it will go 5, num is 5. So it will go like this. 5 times recursion of num minus 1. So 5 minus 1, 4. This is how it will work. Now in the second step, second time when it will go in the if else, it will again go to if and see. So num is not 1. If we go in the else condition, it will be like 5 times 4 times recursion of num minus 1, because this time num is 4. So 4 minus 1, 3. Then the third time it will go like 5 times 4 times 3 times recursion of 2. Similarly, it will keep on going like this, and the final step will be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And hence, when it will come out of the loop, it will give us a result of 120. I hope this is much easier than the for loop and much lesser in steps as well. And immutability is also protected. But the problem is that recursion is not memory efficient. Right? Because if you see that every time it is going in the if else statement, these values are being captured into memory, right? So until the final condition is met, it will keep on capturing space. And we don't want that, obviously. We don't want to block memory space. So for this, tail recursion came to the rescue. So what tail recursion says? Tail recursion says that the recursive call should be the last statement of the function. That means the recursive call, the call which is calling the recursion, with the last statement, and it should not keep on going. You just see the code for it. I'm naming the function as tail, and the common syntax we have. So let's take this input as a int, and in this one there's a difference from the above two. We'll take two integers, two vals. Okay, one is the input and the other is the result, where we will be storing. But result will I don't think result will give a problem because this was a var, but let's just result one integer. Okay, and then the basic syntax. Now, suppose I want to find the factorial of 5 only. So our function calling should be like tail 5 comma something. So what should be that something? So now let us take that if the input we are giving is 1, then it will return the result. So if input is 1, then it will directly return the result. So our function should be called like tail 5 comma 1. Then comes to else. Let's call the function. So a minus 1 comma result times a. Let me just arrange it. Okay. Now the function is called brackets ended. I'll just do this. Okay. Result 1 it should be, and result 1. Let's see what the value comes as. 120. So what happened in this? We have called two vals. So first A, which is the input, result is which is storing the result. So if A is 1, then it will return the result. But A is not 1. We are doing 5, factorial of 5. So it goes to the else part. Now, in the else part, it comes as 4 tail of 4 comma result was 1. A is also so this is the first thing when the code is running. Tail 5 1. Now secondly it comes to the else part, so it becomes tail of 4 comma and then 5, because result 1 is 1 and A is 4, because this A minus, this has been done as A minus 4. So this keeps on going till tail of 1 comma 120. So finally the result where we are capturing, that is the second val, which is the result that comes as 120. So tail recursion says that the recursive call should be the last statement which is the last statement over here. And this is how the problems are solved. Thank you.